Coming up tonight, time is up. The Prime Minister telling world leaders in Dubai action is needed now in the fight against climate change. Plus, a new workplace convention signed by the Bahamas targets violence and harassment in the workplace. We'll tell you what it all means. And then entertainment correspondent Danielle Miller has the epic visuals from a new music video released by Bahamian hip-hop artist Chase Fernander. These stories and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Time has now run out. That is the message by Prime Minister Philip Davis to world leaders convened in Dubai for COP28. This summer, the Bahamas experienced record high temperatures, but was fortunately spared the experience of catastrophic hurricanes. However, the nation's leader telling COP members that we did endure tropical storms and depressions. He shares how we can prepare for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
Over the coming 6 months, before the next hurricane season begins, we can use the time to strengthen our National Youth Guard. We can build more homes out of the groundbreaking, carbon-negative, ocean-resistant concrete pioneered by a Bahamian company, Patana, headed by entrepreneur Rick Fox. We can also raise more finance using our blue carbon credits, backed by our extensive underwater fields of seagrasses, which absorb more carbon than the Amazon rainforest.
The Prime Minister adding that pledges made to the newly established Loss and Damage Fund over the past 2 days at COP are welcomed.
Surely, this puts beyond doubt the debate that the principle has now been settled. The polluter pays. But it has taken 30 years to agree that there should be a fund for loss and damage. And in 13 years, we have not yet hit the original pledge goal of $100 billion per year. So how long must we now wait to have this new fund capitalized? And how long must we wait before we can access the funds? Time is a luxury we do not have.
However, he says he is left to wonder how exactly to interpret the pledges made.
So little pledged, given what is needed. So late in the day, given what is forecast. Is the effort here more to reduce the noise pollution generated by our advocacy rather than to address the carbon reduction and climate financing so urgently needed? Are we expected to remain quietly grateful? Frankly, we do not understand why everyone does not share our sense of urgency. Doing what is needed to help us also helps you. Will you not act urgently to save yourselves?
Davis urging world leaders to act now before it is too late for small island nations such as ours.
Our plight is mostly invisible. The slowly warming seawater, slowly rising up through our porous limestone islands. The slowly dying coral, no longer able to support the slowly dying fish. By the time our plight is made visible for all to see, our luck will have run out. It will be too late. The storm will have passed. We can only pray that there is something left to see.
Now, Prime Minister Philip Davis is still in Dubai as he and other world leaders push the agenda for climate change. Davis sharing the launch of the Bahamas Sustainable Investments Program, which aims to close the climate financing gap for smaller island nations. But Davis says he's optimistic because although we may be a small island nation, we are also a large ocean state.
Our countries, for example, seagrass meadows, which covers an astonishing 97,000 square kilometers, appear to be absorbing more carbon than that of the Amazon forests. We have been mapping our seagrasses with help not only from scientists, but also tiger sharks. Tiger sharks are a critical part of our underwater surveying team. That's right. They swim through our waters, wearing cameras and sending back data points.
But how exactly will those data points sent by tiger sharks be of benefit?
Those sharks are going to help us become the first country in the world to issue no carbon credits. So, as you can see, small countries can be big pioneers. My government and the people of Bahamas have already engaged with the Clinton Global Initiative on this commitment to action. We are honored to be part of the extraordinary community of changemakers.
The Bahamas now joins many countries around the world by ratifying a recently implemented International Labor Organization Convention addressing violence and harassment in the workplace. Convention C-190, which Labor and Public Service Minister Pia Glover-Roll says is an important development that will prompt key improvements in the Bahamas and impact labor laws and policies. As a result, she says they will now ensure action is taken.
Convention 190 will drive change here and globally by directly addressing the issue of violence and harassment in the workplace with the recognition of the need to preserve and protect human rights, to promote a culture of mutual respect and dignity in the workplace, and to acknowledge the negative effects of violence and harassment on a person's financial, mental, emotional, and physical well-being, and the effect it ultimately has on the society at large.
The Bahamas has been an active member of the ILO since 1976 and has ratified over 30 conventions. Glover-Roll says this will include the introduction of laws prohibiting violence and harassment in the workplace and establishing standards mandating local workplaces institute violence and harassment policies. Ratifying the convention also mandates a widespread training and awareness campaign. The Labor Minister says the Tripartite Council will work out the particulars to ensure victims are protected.
These conversations have to be had to determine the mechanisms that will be put in place as a result of our laws and policies, as I spoke to in my speech as well, about restoration for employees, how this will affect them in terms of continued work, or if there is no continued work in that specific environment, the opportunity to engage work in another environment without the stain of what has occurred in a past environment following them. So these are the particulars that the National Tripartite Council will come together on, has come together on.
Well, we now know what happened in this incident caught on camera by Our News cameras yesterday. The video posted on Our News social media last evening showed the aftermath of the altercation. The official police report now tells us a 16-year-old student was stabbed multiple times shortly before 4 p.m. The victim was in the area of Robinson and Marathon Roads when he was attacked and stabbed by a group of males, one of which he knew. The victim was treated at the hospital for his injuries and later discharged. Police say they are following significant leads and are once again encouraging young people to find alternative ways to resolve their conflicts. Well, starting Monday, audiences here on Our News are in for a treat. Join the Our News team nightly at 7 and 7:30 as we broadcast live from the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of Atlantis' Royal Towers. Each night, the news team will provide insights onto the wonders of the resort and the people who make it happen. And be sure to follow our social media pages all week for a chance to win dinners for 2 and free nights at the resort. It all starts Monday here on Our News. Well, lots of holiday activities kicking off this afternoon, but thankfully we had lots of beautiful weather on the outside. Ian McKinsey joins us now with your first look at weather. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your best of the best Saturday weather forecast. Currently outside our studios, we're under intermittent clouds, the temperature is 79. Our winds are from the east-southeast at 8 miles per hour with a feels-like temperature of 80 degrees. Current temperatures across the country at this time in our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 77, a set of 79s in Marsh Harbor, Nassau, the capital, 80s in Allenstown, Nicholstown, Great Harbor Key, and in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera. For the Central Bahamas, we have 79 in Camps Bay, a pair of 81s in Georgetown and Deadman's Key, 80 in Arthurstown, and 76 in Coburn Town, San Salvador. For the Southeast Bahamas, we have 82 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, as well as Matthewtown and Agua, a pair of 81s in Colonel Hill and Delectable Bay, Aucklands, 80 in Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana, and 80 in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Here's a look now at your satellite and radar imagery where we have some cloudiness, and this is all associated with an approaching frontal boundary. Elsewhere across the central and southeast Bahamas, high pressure remains in firm control. That's your first look at weather. Stay tuned for extended forecast. It's straight ahead.
Still to come on Our News in tonight's Generation Next segment, he has a passion for painting and all things home related. The story of Chrisard Culmer is on the other side of this break. Plus, an annual Christmas staple is back. Get ready for a magical wonderland of lights, colors, and fun. We'll tell you where the magic is happening. Stick with us.
Doctors Hospital's reimagined primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
From a helper in a family business to the owner of his own maintenance company, the focus of this week's Generation Next report tells the inspiring story of a high school dream, which turned into a successful venture for this young entrepreneur.
My passion is about homes. I love homes. I love the architectural designs of homes. So I'm currently enrolled at PTVI as well, taking up construction tech to eventually launch my own construction company. But for right now, my business is a property maintenance business. We deal with ductless installation, tiling, remodeling, painting, interior and exterior. I actually currently employ others. So if I get a subcontract, I would bring them on my team as well.
Culmer enrolled at BTVI to build on his technical skills. He says it's a pathway to future growth. Yet, even now, launching and operating his own company presents its share of challenges.
It was a bit difficult. Me being an introvert, not being able to communicate as properly or effective, I actually had to come on my shell and actually start to communicate with clients and people much more. But as far as my journey, it was a bit challenging with dealing with hurdles like getting business licenses, so forth, stuff like that. But just having the right mentorship and the right people alongside me, it helped make things a little bit more easier for me.
However, the highlight of Culmer's journey is providing opportunities for other young men.
My biggest accomplishment is being able to actually provide jobs for other young people, giving them opportunity to put money in their pockets and feed their family. That's my biggest accomplishment, I feel. There's so many negative stuff occurring in today's society. This is just, my company is just not about me, it's bigger than me. Having to do some positive things with so many negative things occurring with young men, I just decided I want to take the positive part and I want to be able to help guide these people in the right direction.
And if you, like Culmer, have dreams of becoming an entrepreneur, here's some good advice.
I had to push myself, make things happen for myself, take those calculated risks to make things happen for myself. Get on my shell and just make things happen.
And so to other young people, I would say?
And to the other young people, I say never stop believing in yourself. It might be difficult along the road, but just take that next step and make things happen.
Great advice. Well, nothing says Christmas in Nassau like the annual carnival. And the festive holiday staple is back at Fort Charlotte. The carnival runs from December 1st to January 14th, promising a month-long annual celebration filled with excitement and holiday spirit. This year's carnival will feature approximately 32 rides, including options for children. The McCafferty Christmas Carnival transforms Clifford Park into a magical wonderland of lights, colors, and laughter. Attendees can expect an array of fair and carnival rides, as well as games of skill and chance, offering visitors the chance to win fantastic prizes and, of course, great memories. The carnival will also feature a variety of food vendors serving up delicious treats, from traditional carnival fare to delectable local delights. The McCafferty Christmas Carnival opens its gates Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. with closing time depending on the crowd and weather conditions. On Saturday and Sunday, gates open at 4 p.m. and again, closing time is dependent on the crowd and weather conditions. This year, I'm challenging all of my colleagues here at Our News to join me to see who is brave enough to ride along with me. Let's see who takes on the challenge. When Our News comes back from the break, it's a supercharged workshop for tourism professionals, and 85 Grand Bahamians participated in the pilot program. And later, a Bahamian hip-hop artist, Chase Fernandez, releasing her highly anticipated music video. That's still to come when Our News Weekend returns. This is Our News Weekend. Welcome back. A group of hospitality professionals in Grand Bahama are now officially certified in a regional program. 85 Grand Bahamians recently completed the Caribbean Supercharged Hospitality Training Workshop, organized and funded by the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association Education Foundation. Board member Professor Mike Hamilton giving some insight into how it all works.
Today's session was to be able to help the people in Grand Bahama to get new insights on how they can provide the kinds of guest experiences that are exceptional. We had amazing participants in this session today over the course of the week. In fact, the feedback is that this was one of the most exciting and inspirational events that they've had in a very long time.
This workshop was a first for Grand Bahama, hosted by the CHTA. Industry professionals are hoping to use it as a pilot program that can go into other islands. Association executive Ian Roll had some sage advice for these newly trained professionals.
The BHTA thanks you for recognizing the post-hurricane recovery training needs of Grand Bahama and being here with the Education Foundation to give our local professionals an opportunity to upskill and refresh their knowledge and delivery. The BHTA congratulates all the participants on the successful completion of the regional workshop and encourages you to put everything into practice to ensure that every guest is treated equally, warmly, and respectfully.
The one-day dynamic workshops focused team member training in what's called heartfelt guest care, aimed at creating memorable visitor experiences, while managers and supervisors looked at effective results-driven communication. Leroy Darling spoke to what the training means for him.
As I interact with each and every worker here, or even as my co-workers or people off on a day-to-day basis, I use critical thinking. The 5 different ways of critical thinking. And I want to thank you guys for even acknowledging that. So as I interact with my workers, I thank you guys.
Well, on the other side of this break, Ian McKenzie is back with your extended weather forecast. Plus, our Danielle Miller puts the arts and entertainment spotlight on Bahamian artist Chase Fernandez. Stick with us. Thanks for sticking with us. Our Ian McKenzie is back now in the Weather Center with your extended look at temperatures.
Thanks, Megan. Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look now at your extended forecast where we have high pressure in firm control across the area. This high pressure system will begin to slide eastwards ahead of an approaching cold front. That should cool things down a bit, and we'll speak more to that. Boating forecast for the Northwest Bahamas. Small craft should exercise caution. Wind southeast to south 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4, but up to 7 feet offshore in those easterly swells. High tide at 11:35 p.m. tonight. Low tide at 5:32 a.m. tomorrow morning. For the central and southeast Bahamas again, Caution in effect to those swells. Winds east to southeast 15 to 20, seas 4 to 7 feet. Here's a look now at your national forecast. And in your extended forecast, expect a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Monday, we can expect increasing cloudiness, some shower activity, possible an isolated thunderstorm courtesy of that frontal system that should push through the capital by about midday Tuesday. Watch those daytime temperatures dip into the mid-70s, with the low temperatures getting down to the mid to low 60s. That's a wrap on your evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ian. Well, Tipsy Bar on Village Road, the venue last evening, as enthusiastic fans and a few entertainment industry veterans gathered for the debut of Bahamian hip-hop artist Chase Fernandez's new music video. Our Danielle Miller was there to ensure we didn't miss a beat of this event.
With her first musical release since 2017, Miss Chase Fernandez is set to blaze the music scene again with her new release, Big Pressure.
If you have not heard about Chase Fernandez before, now is the time for you to get familiar with the musical artist. With a career spanning more than a decade, she and longtime producer Padrino have given us hits like Dear John, 100, and Repeat. Her raw talent and edgy style has also provided audiences with incomparable visuals, like this one of her sitting on top of a basketball hoop. The singer, hosting a mix and mingle for the release of the visuals for her new song, Big Pressure, the artist explains why she took such a long hiatus from her craft.
This is my first project since, I want to say maybe 2017, 18-ish, my first solo project. It's also my first project since I've had my son. So I actually went through a time when I was pregnant and through the pandemic where I didn't know if music was still going to be something that I would want to do professionally. And so when the opportunity came to work with my normal producer, which is Padrino, who's been living abroad for God knows how many years, but he's now here. When the opportunity came for us to get back in studio, I didn't expect it to be so quick, but we literally got in studio on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday night we had a song.
And for Chase's longtime fans, she says you can expect a new sound in this newest release.
I kind of just went out of my comfort zone with this. You know, I've always been more of a storyteller, so all of my songs, most of my previous songs were based on real stories, real situations that have happened. It has been kind of difficult for me to write music that wasn't based on an experience. So getting in the studio with Padrino and also another producer, BDA, they kind of pushed me to just get out of that box of having to write emotional music, having to wait on situations to happen before you're inspired to write. And that's the biggest difference with this. This was just pure gas.
Big Pressure is now available for your viewing pleasure on YouTube, and you can download it on all major streaming platforms. But there is parental advisory attached. Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks so much, Danielle, and thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a safe and wonderful evening.